LVC, the network.
Hi, my name is Cameron Lane. I'm 15 years old and I go to Prosper High School. I would love to be a chef whenever I grow up. I would also love to own my own restaurants and be an author of many cookbooks. I would love to be a part of CiCi's Culinary Creations. Today I would like to prepare the lamb chops with rosemary and blue cheese, tomato bisque, fettuccine alfredo, mixed greens with balsamic vinaigrette, and creme brulee.
Well, welcome to CiCi's Culinary Creations, where it's all about food, family, and fun. Well, today I am so honored to have my dear friend Cameron Lane to join me because he has expressed his desire to go to school to be a chef. And as you all know, we know chefs are something that a lot of people aspire to be, but it's a lot of hard work. But to get there, there's a lot of training and education and experiencing life and food and a lot of laughter too, because you get to have fun while you're in the kitchen. So I got the opportunity to talk to Cameron last week about his goals and ideas of what he would like to do. And the one is, of course, to be a chef, but then to also own his own restaurant. When Cameron and I met, we talked about his idea of hosting a dinner party. So one of the things that you wanted, what was the entree?
The entree was lamb chops with a blue cheese on top, and then the arugula salad with balsamic vinaigrette, creme brulee as dessert,
And you love to make pasta.
Pasta, yes.
So what are you going to make today?
I'm going to make Alfredo.
Fettuccine Alfredo. So we're going to be cooking up the fettuccine, and then we're going to make our own Alfredo sauce today. So with our menu that we talked about, with all the ideas, you have to kind of look at your timeline, and also you have to look at who you're inviting to your dinner party, because that's going to tell you like what ingredients you're going to use. For example, we're also going to make a bisque. An example is when we went over our menu, it was the lamb chops that are marinated in olive oil with rosemary. And then once we have them cooked, we're going to top them off with some blue cheese and put that under the broiler for a bit. Then we're going to do the fettuccine Alfredo, nice, simple, easy sauce. And then today, instead of arugula, we're going to do a spring mix, and with our own homemade balsamic vinaigrette and some sunflower seeds. We talked about pine nuts, but again, some people are allergic to nuts, so if you don't know the group or you don't know the crowd, keep it simple and just do like sunflower seeds if you really even want to do that, or maybe cranberries. And then we are also going to make a bisque. I love crab bisque, and that's one of my favorites, but because Cameron is allergic to shellfish, you know, those questions you need to ask before you start cooking for a dinner party and working on your menu is he's allergic to that, so that would not have been a great fit. So we're gonna do a roasted red pepper and tomato bisque, and as our soup of the day, and then of course creme brulee. So when you go through your list of items that you're gonna be making, you look at timeline. So the creme brulee is going to take the longest, and the creme brulee, it takes up an hour to bake. So you really want to do this at maybe a day in advance, or at least the morning of, just so it's ready to go. So we're going to start with that to get it in the oven, and we'll show you some beautiful, wonderful creme brulee at the end. So we're going to start out with 8 egg yolks. We'll go ahead and get this all mixed up together, but it's 8 egg yolks, 1/3 cup of sugar, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and vanilla. And then I'll also share with you my wonderful favorite accompaniment to that. So we'll get this all ready to go, and we'll show you what it looks like in a few minutes. Well, one of the things I love about being in the kitchen is that there's a lot of different tools. So Cameron was so kind to separate the eggs for me because I just needed 8 egg yolks. So there are these little tools like this, which are egg yolk separators. You can do the customary flip your egg yolk back and forth in your shell. That is okay too. But sometimes when you are having kids in the kitchen, you want them to help you. It's just a little bit safer to do something like that. So we put all of our ingredients in. 8 egg yolks, 2 cups of heavy cream, a 1/3 cup of sugar, and some vanilla. So we're gonna mix this up, and it's gonna become a nice, almost like a golden yellow. It looks like a custard color. I wanna show you this real quickly because it's really, really pretty. It's just a nice golden color. And it's a little bit frothy too, but that's okay. We're gonna take care of that froth. We just wanna mix it up. Then my secret ingredient, it's not really secret, but it's the one that just really makes the whole thing fantastic, are vanilla beans. I get the real true vanilla bean. It looks quite unique, but it has the most incredible, powerful flavor of anything I've ever had. So you have your bean. I went ahead and taken some kind of, made them a little bit smaller because they're kind of big for my glass. And you want to keep them stored in a very airtight place because vanilla beans are soaked in vodka, and actually to make vanilla extract itself, it's the true vanilla bean soaked in vodka, and after a few months, it's about 3 months time, and then you pour out and strain your juice from that, the vodka. That's your vanilla extract. That's why it's really, really important that when you get a vanilla extract, don't do the imitation. I mean, it works just fine, but pay a little bit more money, and it's worth it because of how they make it, because it really makes a great flavor. All right, well, Cameron, in order to finish this out, there's a lot of foam on here. So what you'll want to do is strain it first before we actually put it in our ramekins. Don't worry, the seeds, the vanilla bean seeds will still go through this strainer, but what it's going to do is just get some of that. Yes. Right. If we didn't mix something up properly, it's definitely going to get caught in there. So it's just a little froth part, so we're going to take that out and move it over here. Then the next step is that we're going to pour like equal levels, about almost 3/4. So these bowls are a little bit bigger. When you go to a restaurant, you're going to have like ramekins that are small, short, and bigger. Mine are short and taller, so you have to compensate for that difference. So we're going to fill these. We're going to start at halfway to make it even all the way around, and we're going to put them in what's called a water bath. Once these are full, we're going to add some water to the pan below, and the heat from the water actually goes around the bowl and cooks it that way. That way it's not like it's being baked, so you're not going to have a hard crust on the bottom because the water bath prevents that from happening. So then I've also had to adjust my time on cooking these. So instead of it being 50 minutes as if you had the shorter ramekins, I had to make this about 1 hour. So if you can help me by doing this, putting it in like halfway on each one, and then we'll do the water bath. Okay, then we'll go to the next one. And that's okay, we can always come back to it too. Very nice. And you'll see that some of the beans will float on the top. And then, as my kids have found out, they made sure to get every single bean out of the bottom after they taste it. Okay, so we have a little more in there, so we just pour it in different ones to make it even.
You can also take a ladle, right?
You sure can take a ladle. Mm-hmm, you sure can. We'll do a little more in that one, and then we'll do the rest in this one, okay? All right, there we go. Wonderful. All right, so then we're gonna get the water, and we're just going to pour it into the side of the pan. You do not want any water on your creme brulee, but you want to fill the pan with water at least halfway full. Now, it does make it a little tricky to carry it, but it's that's just something you just need to watch for. And that's why I like to use a deeper pan, because the water will go higher and it'll bake a lot more evenly. All right, so we've got the water in here ready to go. And this is what's called a water bath. All right, if you'd open the oven for me, we're gonna bake these for an hour. All right, well, the next item on our menu is going to be this roasted red pepper and tomato bisque. Again, as I found out that Cameron's allergic to shellfish, so we're not gonna make a crab bisque today. So I already went ahead and started on the bisque because it does take some time. And it was, you saute carrots, tomatoes, along with celery and garlic and onions in about a fourth of a cup of butter, and saute those up until they get really nice and soft. And I already had all that together, so we have that going over here. Next, we're gonna add our roasted red peppers. And so I'm gonna start on them, and then I'll have Cameron do the rest. And these roasted red peppers, it's either you can grill your own, or I find it so much easier just to buying them at the store. They're just in a jar right by the pickles, and you can get some that are spicy, some that are just just roasted peppers, and they're in a nice water sauce. So we're just gonna take this, and it doesn't really matter how big you cut these up, because we're gonna use an emulsifier to cream everything together once we've got it simmered for another half an hour. So I'm gonna start, then I'll let you finish, okay? All I wanna do is just cut these up a little bit, and I'll bring the pot over, and then we'll add these to the pot, okay? Let me bring over the pot. If you wanna start cutting those up. I'm gonna come right over here to your left, okay? Well, as you can see, just like the base of it is just a really nice, pretty color. I'll start it. Of course, the longer it sits and it simmers, the better it tastes. My all-time favorite ingredient to add to a bisque, and I know it sounds really unique, is Cajun seasoning. I like it because it really gives it another pop, another flair. Because typically when you have a tomato bisque, have you had tomato bisque before?
No.
No? Well, it's tomatoes and cream is a lot of the ingredients, and then you also have some others, but that's kind of what the taste is. So I like a little pop. I like a little more flavor, so I add some Cajun seasoning. And I love the end result because it tastes really good. All right, if you can help me put those in here, please. We're gonna add 3 cups of chicken stock. And also a cup of heavy whipping cream. We're just gonna mix this up, put it back. Okay, aprons are sometimes necessary. We're gonna mix this up, put it back on the stove, and let it simmer for half an hour. And then after that time, we'll get the emulsifier and mix it all together, and it'll break down everything and almost make a puree out of it. And then we're going to serve this with some croutons and blue cheese. All right, we'll get this back on the stove, get things cleaned up, and we'll start on the next item. Well, now we're gonna work on our fettuccine Alfredo. We're gonna start with fettuccine first, so that needs to cook for about 10-15 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and get this ready. All we're gonna do is add some hot water to this, some olive oil, some sea salt, and I'm gonna keep the pasta long like this, and it'll cook down, get soft, and fit into the pot, so it's okay. Just don't have as big of a pot, but this works as well too in case you don't have that big pot. So we're just gonna add some sea salt, sprinkle it in, and then we'll add some olive oil, our water halfway in, and then we'll get this on the stove and cooked up. And then next we'll show you how to do the Alfredo sauce. For our salad, we're making a spring salad, make it nice and fun, and Cameron wanted this balsamic vinaigrette dressing. Well, I thought it'd be fun today that we make our own. How about that? So what we're gonna start out with is a few ingredients. It's going to be a couple tablespoons of honey. Let me get that in here. And then I'll have you do the balsamic vinaigrette. We just do our honey. It's gonna be 2 tablespoons of honey. Get your sweetness in there. that. You want to hold that for me, please, and then I'll get the Dijon mustard. Okay, and we're just going to use 1 tablespoon of Dijon. Okay? No, you can go ahead. Turn it over and I'll fill this up for you.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to put that in there. And it's going to call for like a couple, like a clove of garlic. Since it's a balsamic, since it's a dressing, sometimes I don't like the overwhelming power of a clove of garlic, so I'm just going to use some minced garlic that was already prepared. So we've got that, and then we're going to, I think we're finished with that, dear. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinaigrette. So do a 1/4 cup of that. Very, very fragrant, so a fantastic flavor. And I think you'll also like, if you're making Alfredo, sometimes it's really good to mix this in your Alfredo sauce with your pasta. It's really good. So a 1/4 cup of that to 3/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. This might take a little while. We'll get this going. That's okay. You know what? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna take the top off. And these are containers that you can buy at like a home goods store. And it's just ones that I like to use a lot, keep it out, but I like it with the stopper on it. So I'm not always messing with the screw top. So we're gonna add this to the mix. And we've got our balsamic vinaigrette. Next thing we're gonna do is, Cameron gets to shake this, and we'll put it in the refrigerator until it's time to serve. Make sure that's all closed and ready to go. You just want to shake it up really, really good. And then it's ready to serve. But we're going to go ahead and put it in the refrigerator in the meantime while we're getting the rest of the dinner set. Next thing on the menu is we're doing our fettuccine Alfredo. We've already got that cooked up. Now it's time to make that wonderful homemade Alfredo sauce. Yes, you have the option of buying it at the store, but I want to show you where you can make it at home, and it's really amazingly a great taste. So we're going to start out with the 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick of butter. Go ahead and melt that. We're going to add some minced garlic to the mix. Get all of that beautifulness in there. And of course it smells fantastic, doesn't it? You like garlic? Oh, very. All right, and we do have the heat on medium-high. We're going to add our heavy cream. And if you don't have heavy cream, you can use milk, but just you know, not as much, because the heavy cream, or you're going to have to add flour to make it a little bit thicker. But the next ingredient is the Parmesan, the grated Parmesan, and that really thickens this up. So we're going to get this nice and warm. I'm going to have you stir this. We're going to add some salt and pepper to it. So we're going to add some sea salt and some fresh ground pepper. Okay, now we're going to hold up just a bit. Let me add the cheese, okay? Otherwise it's going to go. We're going to just have it here, and then you can kind of feel it too, getting hot. So, and also the butter's going to be breaking down. That's in there, and then we're going to add our cheese, and this is really going to thicken it. So this is going to be 1.5 cups of the grated Parmesan cheese. Need it just a little bit more. And there we go. We're going to just be real gentle with this and just mix it, stir it around, okay? Just be real gentle. And then it'll start melding together. You see how it's already starting to get thick? Yes. And that's what you want. You just want it to get nice and warm, and it'll start melting together. All right, well, once we have this all done, we'll show you the end result from it. All All right, we're gonna finish up our bisque and get it ready for serving. So as you see, it looks like a nice creamy goodiness here with a lot of vegetables, but we don't want the chunky vegetables. So we're gonna take the emulsifier and mix this all up and make it almost into a puree. So Cameron's going to do that for me. We'll have you start right here. There you go. And then yes, you wanna use, this side's not too hot, but just be careful on how you do that. And you've got high and low on that. And then you put it all the way down and just mix it up. So we'll get this all mixed up, and when it's all done, then we'll show you what it looks like. Well, Cameron was so nice to help out with the emulsifier, getting this all mixed up, so now it's this nice creamy puree. So we're gonna taste it to make sure it has all the great flavors in it that we want our guests to enjoy as well. And why don't you taste it and let me know what you think. You like it? A little, like each taste you take, then you taste a little bit of that Cajun seasoning.
Yes.
So it's like not the first bite, it's like a little bit longer. So that's what I like about using the Cajun seasoning. Again, it may not be for everybody, but for me, I want a little bit of a different flavor, so I like to do that. The next part on the fettuccine Alfredo is that we need to marry the fettuccine into the Alfredo sauce. The Alfredo sauce is nice and lovely. It's not too thick because the pasta is going to absorb some of that moisture too. So, but once you get the pasta in it, it's going to get a little bit thicker. And then we're gonna let this sit right before we're getting ready to serve it. All you do is mix it together and it becomes this beautiful pot of pasta with this nice white creamy cheesy sauce that we're going to serve up with our dinner. We're going to take this and just let it sit on the stove a little bit to keep it warm while we get our lamb chops ready. Our entree is ready to go to get onto the stove. So we've got our beautiful lamb chops. They're kind of thick, so we're going to takes a little time to cook those up. So it was a simple marinade, just olive oil and rosemary, which you can see is right here, nice and beautiful. So we're just going to add a little more olive oil on the top. And Cameron, if you would be so kind to sprinkle some sea salt on that, please. And then I'm going to turn it over so you can do the other side as well. Let me put a little olive oil on it first, if you don't mind. I love all this greenery, but the rosemary really kind of infuses it over time because I started these last night, and so the seasoning will soak into the lamb meat itself. Now, if I was going to be putting these out on the grill, I would probably put the rosemary out there as well. But what we're going to do is just going to do it in the kitchen and the skillet. So we're going to just take these on over to the stove. I've got the skillet ready to go. Let's, why don't you grab the olive oil for me, please? And we'll come on over. Okay, so we're going to take these beautiful lamb chops and put into our skillets and cook these up. I don't want it on too high of a heat, because these are a little thick, so I don't want it to cook too fast. And for additional flavor, I'm gonna add a couple of these sprigs just to kind of get infused in there. So we'll let that cook up, and then I'll show you what it looks like once it's all done. Well, the creme brulee is done. So excited to show you because it's just beautifulness right here in this pan. So we're gonna be real careful bringing it out with the water pan. So we're just going to take this, grab it out, and look at that. It's just beautiful, beautiful. But we're going to let it sit in the water bath for a little while and to make sure it's completely cooked. So we're just going to set it over here on the stove, and we'll have it after for dessert. Well, just a recap of what we did today. So we started out with our roasted bell pepper and tomato bisque, and then we topped it with some croutons and some blue cheese, put that under the broiler. Then we also made a really, really nice balsamic vinaigrette for some spring mix salad and added some sunflower seeds. Then we have some fettuccine Alfredo. We made our own Alfredo sauce. What do you think of that?
Very fun and very great.
And and the end result is that it's like you made it, and that's so fun. The entree is some beautiful, beautiful lamb chops that we marinated in some olive oil and rosemary. And then after those were cooked, we put some blue cheese on it as well, put it under the broiler, and it's gonna give a magnificent flavor to it. Then my all-time favorite dessert, creme brulee. It's just a simple vanilla creme brulee, but I love using vanilla beans because it really brings out its fantastic flavor, and it's so fragrant as well. And it was fun to get to show you some simple ways of making a fantastic dinner for your friends and family, and also doing it with someone, it makes it even more special. Well, thanks for joining CiCi's Culinary Creations. Check us out on Facebook along with Twitter and our website, CiCi'sCulinaryCreation.com.
LVC, the network.